Hello students. So in last class we have introduced the idea of integration, right? Calculation of antiderivative and finding out area under the curve. So let's recollect those concepts once and then we can continue with today's class, right? So this is what we have seen yesterday. So for calculating area under a curve, y is equal to f of x, small f of x. So first we have to do is find the antiderivative of that function. So you all know what antiderivative means. Antiderivative of a function is basically a function which when differentiated gives us the actual function, right. So the derivative of this is this, the antiderivative of this is this, clear. So that is how we understand. So first step is to calculate the antiderivative and second step is to calculate the value of that antiderivative function at a and at b, the two limits between which we need to find the area, right. And then we have to evaluate the value of f of b minus f of a. The difference in the upper limit value, we call this as upper limit and this one as lower limit, right. So we will be writing it as integral of f of x dx. So this is the representation, right, from a to b is equal to f of b minus f of a, right. So this is what we have discussed in last class. Okay. So this finding the antiderivative of the function, so there is another name which we will be giving for that. This step is what we call as indefinite integration. Indefinite integration. Clear? So that is just another name which we will be using. So instead of calling it as find the antiderivative of f of x, they can also ask you to perform indefinite integration of this particular function. So even then they basically are asking you to find out the antiderivative of that function, clear. So this is what we mean by indefinite integration. And similarly this last step which I have written, so if we substitute the limits, if we find the upper limit of antiderivative, lower limit of antiderivative and then subtract them. So if I perform this operation, so this is basically called as definite integration. Definite integration. So these are just the names which we will be using for those. So remember that if I am just calculating the antiderivative, indefinite integration, and I guess you can understand why we call it as indefinite integration. I have told you in last class that, for example, if I have a function f of x is equal to, let us take x square, and if I ask you what is the antiderivative of this, I told you how we should think of it. We should think of it like this. So which function when differentiated gives me x square? So which function gives me x square? So definitely it should have one power higher than this, right, which means it should be an x cube function. But if I differentiate x cube, I get 3x square. I need x square. So what will I do? I will divide this with 3, correct students, and I will be adding a constant, correct. So in this particular scenario we are adding this, why are we adding this constant? So this is called as constant of integration. So we have also discussed why we should add that term, because whatever the value of this constant is, when I differentiate this function, I will be getting the same expression, correct. So when I am integrating this function to get its antiderivative, I do not know what function, what value should be here, what constant should be present there. I am not sure. I am not sure what this value is. So that not having the surety is what we call as indefinite. Indefinite means that we do not know. We do not know what that constant is, correct. So that is why we call it as indefinite integration, clear. So that is a simple idea. So just calculation of antiderivative, and like I told you, do not forget to add this constant. That is very, very important in this first step. If they are only asking you to find the antiderivative, then you should definitely be adding the constant. So like I told you yesterday, so today we will be concentrating on this first step. So how to calculate the antiderivative of different functions, and then we will perform using that antiderivative function, we will perform the last step also, which is basically called as definite integration. Clear? So, you know that once I find the antiderivative, these two steps are very easy, just substitutions and subtraction, very simple, right. So, this is the most important step, right. So, this is what we will be concentrating now. So, indefinite integration. Clear? So, students, let us talk about indefinite integration. So, what I am going to do is I will be taking different functions, we will understand the antiderivative of that function and we will write that down in the table, right. Okay. So, before we start, see, this is something which you should be aware of. See, when I write d by dx of anything, whatever I substitute here, whatever function that I substitute here. So, what does this mean? So, you know that d by dx is basically an operator, right. And what does this operator do? It calculates the rate at which this thing varies with respect to x. So, whatever you substitute there, if you substitute y, it finds out at what rate is y changing with respect to x. So, this is an operator which performs derivative or differentiation, correct. So, in simple terms we can say that this operator calculates slope of variation of y with respect to x. Now, in the same manner, just like d by dx is an operator, just like operator means you know, right. So, plus is an operator, minus is an operator. So, when I write plus, whatever I write here and here, so this operator adds these two things. Clear? So, in the same manner, d by dx is an operator. Look at it as a symbol, right. And what does it do? It calculates the slope of y versus x, y with respect to x. Now, in the same manner, when I need to understand integration, I can represent it like this. So, you know this symbol, the integral sign, right. Integral of anything into dx. Clear? So, when I look at something which is in this form, so you should understand that this is also an operator. So, how should we understand this? This is an operator which performs integration of, so let us say I am substituting y here, it can be anything, I am just substituting y. So, what does this operator do? What does this operator do? It performs integration of y. So, if there is y here, it performs the integration of y with respect to x. Clear? So, that is how we should understand it. So, integral dx is an operator which performs integration of whatever is present in this bracket or whatever is present here with respect to x. It is nothing but calculation of antiderivative. Calculation of antiderivative. Clear, students? So, that is the idea, right? Okay. So, now let us take some cases. We have already seen a few examples in last class. I will quickly revise them once again. So, we have seen that if I need to find the antiderivative of 1, so integral of 1 dx. What would be the integral of 1 dx? So, which function when differentiated gives you 1 with respect to x? So, what should be differentiated with respect to x to give you 1? That is how we should understand. So, what is that? X plus c. So, x when you differentiate you get 1, right. So, 1 if it is integrated you get x plus the constant of integration, and once again do not forget to add this constant, right. Similarly, integral of x dx. What is this? Once again the power of x is 1 here, which means we should have a power of 2 here, but if I differentiate x square I get 2x. I need x. So, I will divide this with 2 plus c. Clear? Similarly, you can go to the next one, integral of x square dx will be what? X cube by 3 plus c, right. Similarly, integral of x power n dx. So, we discussed this in last class, right. So, it should be x power. So, whatever is the power here, remember when we differentiate the power decreases by 1, right. When I integrate, power increases by 1. So, if the power of x here is n, the power of x here should be n plus 1, but whatever we wrote in the numerator, I will once again divide with it. So, that is how we did everywhere, right. See, this is x power 1, x power 1 plus 1 divided by 1 plus 1, x power 2, x power 2 plus 1 divided by 2 plus 1, x power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1, obviously plus c. Clear, students? So, that is the basic idea. Now, let us write few more. So, these are functions which we have already discussed in last class. Okay. Now, next thing is integral of sin x dx. So, means you are integrating sin x with respect to x. What will be the antiderivative of that? What will be the integration of sin x? Integration of sin x would be, how should we think this? What function when differentiated gives sin x cos x, but when I differentiate cos x, it gives me minus sin x, it does not give me sin x. So, what should I take here? Minus cos x. So, when I differentiate minus cos x, see, leave this minus sign, differentiate cos x. When I differentiate cos x, I get minus sin x, and if there is a minus sign, it automatically becomes sin x, correct. So, minus cos x plus c. Clear? Similarly, integral of cos x dx. So, what would that be? So, you can directly think of it as what function when differentiated gives cos x? We know this, sin x, right. So, if I differentiate sin x, I get cos x. So, this would be sin x plus constant, and similarly we can write few more. Let me say integral of secant x tan x dx. What is this? Which function when differentiated gives you secant x tan x? Secant x. So, derivative of secant x is secant x tan x. So, integration of secant x tan x is secant x plus c, right. Similarly, I can write integral of secant square x dx. What would that be? Integral of secant square x dx would be tan x, right. The same logic once again. If I differentiate this, I get this, which means when I integrate this, I get this. Clear? You can write few more. See, if you observe carefully, what I am doing is I am just writing down the table which we made in differentiation in a reverse manner, right. So, that is what I am doing. I am not doing anything new here, right. So, integral of, let us say this time we have taken all the positives are over, right. Now, the negative trigonometric expressions. So, what is the next one? Minus cosecant square x, or if I do not put a minus sign here, now what should be the answer for this? What is integral of cosecant square x dx? Which function when differentiated gives you cosecant square x? What is that? Cot x, right. But cot x when differentiated gives you minus cosecant square x, but I have cosecant square x here. So, I should be substituting, sorry, I should be using minus cot x plus c, so on. So, as I told you, you can just reverse the table, right. Whatever table we have written there, you can just reverse it. So, let me write a few more. I am not going to fill this table. I want you to make a table like this in your notes and fill this up with all the values which we have here. So, write 1 here, the corresponding integral of 1 with respect to x will be x. So, 1 x, x square by 2, x square, x cube by 3. So, in that way fill up that table, right, and so on. And like I told, there are few more. We can write the integral of 1 by x dx. Now, this is something which you should be very careful about, right. You can't apply this formula. So, do not apply this formula for 1 by x. Why? You can easily understand. See, 1 by x basically means x power minus 1 dx, correct. So, x power minus 1 dx. Now, if I use this formula x power n plus 1 by n plus 1, see what I will be getting. This is equal to x power minus 1 plus 1 by minus 1 plus 1. So, in the denominator I am getting 0, right. So, which is undefined. So, for this particular scenario I should not be using the power rule, which is this one, x power n. This expression cannot be applied for integral of 1 by x dx, clear. So, this is wrong. So, this way of understanding is wrong. Now, think of it like this, which function which if I differentiate gives me 1 by x, you know this, right, ln x, the derivative of ln x is 1 by x. So, I can directly write this as ln x plus c, clear. So, you will learn about ln x, logarithmic functions and exponential functions very soon, I think in 2 or 3 days in your maths class, right. So, do not worry much about that. Okay. And similarly, if I write integral of e power x dx, now you can easily tell this, which function when differentiated gives you e power x? E power x only, right. So, e power x plus c, so on, students. So, you know the basic functions which we discussed in differentiation. So, you can just reverse those in this particular scenario, even if I would have left out any of the functions which we discussed there. So, you can write it down here, right. So, that is how we calculate the antiderivative of any given function. So, we will be using these basic functions, right. So, just like in the case of differentiation, we remembered few basic functions and then we applied some rules, sum rule, product rule, right, quotient rule, and similarly constant multiplication rule, correct. So, in the same manner, even in the case of integration, we will remember these basic functions, the integration of these basic functions, you should definitely remember these, clear. With practice, it will automatically be in your mind, do not worry about that, clear. So, make sure that you make a table like this and you just at least for 5 minutes every day just keep looking at it, right, for the next 1 week, that would be enough, that will automatically be in your mind, clear. Okay. So, that is the idea. So, students, now let us see some rules which we will be using for integrating complex functions, right, like we have done in the case of differentiation, addition rule, difference rule and so on. So, that is what I have written here. So, the first one is something which we apply for sum or difference of two functions. So, whenever we have integral of f of x plus g of x into dx, clear. So, we need to integrate with respect to x. What should be integrated? F of x plus g of x should be integrated. So, in such a scenario, how do we do this? Just like we applied in the case of differentiation. So, you can integrate this function first, integrate this function and then perform the operation, right. So, this becomes integral of f of x dx plus integral of g of x dx, right. So, whatever I have written here is applicable for both sum as well as difference. So, even if there is minus, you can use minus. So, just perform the integration of the individual quantities and then you add or subtract them according to what is given to you, clear. But remember, this can be done only for plus or minus, clear, not for product and division, you will learn that. Next rule is when it is multiplied by a constant. So, if there is a constant k into f of x dx. So, you need to integrate this expression which is in the form of constant into a function, clear. In such a scenario, what we can do? We can easily tell this because we have done similar things in differentiation. So, we can bring this constant outside the integral, which means I will first write the constant, perform the integration of f of x dx and then I will multiply that with the constant, correct. Or we can simply say that whenever there is a constant inside an integral, bring that constant outside, that is it. So, what does this become? K into integral of f of x dx. So, this is the next rule. So, when there is a constant inside the integral, just bring it outside, perform the integral and then multiply, clear. Okay. And after this, see the next steps when it comes to multiplication, multiplication and division of functions, which means if there are two functions which are like this, integral of f of x into g of x dx, so which are cases which are like this, or integral of f of x by g of x into dx, clear, something which is similar to uv rule and u by v rule which we discussed in differentiation. So if there are functions which are like this, see these calculations or these understanding is little bit higher level, right? We will not be using those now, I will not be teaching you these, we do not require those also for physics, clear. So you will be learning these types of integrations in second year maths, clear. We do not need that now, we will not be calculating, we will not be using it in physics anywhere, right. So we will be just dealing with basic integrations in physics, clear. So normal sum rule and constant multiplication rule, that is enough for us. We will not be dealing with this high level integrations and all. So which is a good thing for us, we need to know limited things and we need to learn it properly, right. So that is where our concentration should be, okay. So we will see some examples also for each of these. So as I told, this is not required. So for this, if I take an example, so for the first case, so let us say we have integral of x power 4, right, plus cos x dx, right. So how can I understand this? So this can be understood as integral of x power 4 dx plus integral of cos x dx, correct students. So this will be equal to integral of, what will be the integration of x power 4? I will directly use the formula x power, okay, let me write it as x power 4 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 plus a constant. So let me call that constant as C1, because there will be another constant which we will be getting here when I integrate this. So let us call this as C1 and the constant of this integration as C2, okay, plus integral of cos x. We have just earlier discussed sin x is the integration of cos x. So this would be sin x plus C2, correct students, right. So eventually we can write this expression as, what will this be, x power 5 by 5, x power 5 by 5 plus we have a sin x plus C1 plus C2. So anyways these are anyways constants, correct. So when I add these two, I will be getting another constant. So I do not need to write them as sum of two constants. So I will eventually write it as a single constant C. So you can do this every time. So you do not have to, when you are integrating separately like this, so you do not have to add one constant here, another constant here and then add the constants. So you can skip all that. So directly integrate the functions and add one constant at the end, that would be enough, clear. So this would be the answer for that, clear students, okay. Next we will take an example, this is an example for this rule, we will take an example for this rule, right. So let us consider integral of 3x power or 3x power minus 2, right, 3x power minus 2, okay, this is enough, 3x power minus 2 dx. So if I need to find the integration of this, what should I do? Because 3 is a constant with in multiplication with x power minus 2, bring this 3 outside. So do not say that if 3 is like this, 3 plus x power minus 2, 3 is a constant, I will bring this outside. So that is not how you should do, please keep in mind. So constant should be in multiplication with f of x, clear. So if we have 3 into x square, if I have 3 into x power minus 2, then I can bring 3 outside the integral, clear. 3 into integral of x power minus 2 dx. Now you know what to do. So I can directly apply the formula which we earlier understood. So this can be written as 3 into x power, what should I do, minus 2 plus 1 by minus 2 plus 1, minus 2 plus 1 by minus 2 plus 1 plus a constant. Clear? So, when I simplify this, what do I get? 3, what is this, x power minus 1 by minus 1. So, which gives me minus 3x power minus 1 plus constant, or you can write this minus x power minus 1, x power minus 1 as 1 by x, correct. So, this becomes minus 3 by x plus c. Clear, students? Oh, like I told you in the earlier scenario, if this can be done, this bringing the constant outside can be done only if it is in the product 3 into x power minus 2. What if it was like this, 3 plus x power minus 2 dx? What will be the answer for that? Try it. I will just discuss in a while. So, students, have you done that question? So, let us see. So, this is that question. So, we will solve that and then we will solve the rest of the questions as well. So, the first one, so I have asked you integral of, we know that integral of 3 plus x power minus 2 dx, I can't bring this 3 outside the integral because we have a plus sign here. So, I should use the first rule, correct. So, I will be using integral of 3 dx, I am separating this, plus integral of x power minus 2 dx. So, that is how we should be writing it, right. Now in this scenario you can see integral of 3 dx. So, here I can understand this integral of 3 dx as 3 into 1 and I can bring this 3 outside. Now, I can do this, right. So, this can be understood as integral of 3 dx can be understood as 3 into integral dx or integral 1 dx. What is integral of 1 dx? It is x, right, or you could have directly understood it like this. So, if we have 3 here, so integral of 3 dx. So, which function when differentiated gives you 3x. So, derivative of 3x is 3. So, integration of 3 will be 3x, correct. So, you can directly write it as 3x. Clear, students? So, 3x, I told you that we do not have to add constants once here and then do that. I will directly perform the integrations of the individual terms and then I will directly add one constant plus, okay, here this I know the x power n rule. So, x power minus 2 plus 1 by minus 1 plus constant, that is it. So, you can easily write the final answer, this would be 3x plus this is x power minus 1 by minus 1. So, this becomes minus 1 by x plus c, right. So, that would be the answer for that question. Okay. Now, let us see the remaining questions as well. So, if you see the second one, so second one is basically integral of 1 by cubed root x dx, right, students. So, this can be understood as, first bring it into x power n form like we would have done in differentiation also. So, bring it into the form of x power n. So, what will I get if I do that? So, this is x power 1 by 3 and if x power 1 by 3 goes to the numerator, it becomes x power minus 1 by 3 into dx. And now, you can easily apply the formula. So, this will be equal to x power minus 1 by 3 plus 1 by minus 1 by 3 plus 1, correct. So, this will be equal to, what is minus 1 by 3 plus 1? 2 by 3 and division of 2 by 3 will become 3 by 2, correct. So, 3 by 2 into x power 2 by 3, correct. Do not forget the constant, it should always be written when you are performing indefinite integration. This is indefinite integration. Okay. Then next one, third one. What is the third one? 1 by 3 root x. So, please observe these two are different. This is cubed root x, right. This is 3 into root x, clear. So, okay, let us do that. Integral of 1 by 3 root x dx. Now, you can easily say that here this is nothing but 1 by 3 into 1 by root x and 1 by 3 is a constant. I can bring 1 by 3 outside the integral. So, 1 by 3 into integral of 1 by root x is nothing but x power minus 1 by 2 dx, right students. So, this will be equal to 1 by 3 into, what is the value of this? I can directly apply the formula, x power minus 1 by 2 plus 1 by minus 1 by 2 plus 1, right. So, that is it, very simple, right. So, 1 by 3 into, what is this, x power 1 by 2 by 1 by 2, and by 1 by 2 becomes 2 in the numerator. So, this becomes 2 into x power 1 by 2 plus c, right. So, you can write this as 2 by 3 x, or 2 by 3 x power 1 by 2 means 2 by 3 root x plus c. So, that is the next one. Okay. So, fourth one. So, in the fourth one, so we have a very big expression, but as I told you, do we need to worry if the expression is big? No, right, because these are all 3 small integrations and then we will have to add them. So, nothing, so it might look big, but it is not that difficult, right. So, perform integration of this, integration of this, integration of this, add them finally, right. So, plus plus. Okay. So, let me write them individually first. I can write this by using the sum rule as integral of 18 x power 17 dx plus integral of 4 x power 4 by 3 dx plus integral of 9 dx, right students. Okay. Let us do step by step, let us write each and every step, so that initially it will be clear for us. So, I can bring this 18 outside the integral because it is constant into a function, right. So, if I bring this 18 out, I will get 18 into integral x power 17 dx, right, plus 4 can once again be brought out, 4 into integral of x power 4 by 3 dx plus here integral of 9 dx. You can write it as, you can bring 9 outside, and integral of dx, integral of dx or integral of 1 dx, you can understand it either ways. So, if you want, you can put a 1 here, integral of 1 dx. Okay. So, this is the expression. So, let me simplify it over here. So, when I simplify this, so I have 18 here. So, 18 into, we know the formula for this, right. I can directly apply that, x power 17 plus 1 by 17 plus 1. So, I am not going to write the constant immediately, I will write it at the end, right. So, plus here 4 into x power, same formula, 4 by 3 plus 1 by 4 by 3 plus 1. What is 4 by 3 plus 1? 7 by 3. Plus finally, what do we have? 9. What is integral of 1 dx or integral of dx? What does that mean? X itself, correct students? Integral of 1 dx. See, this is something which you will be mostly making mistakes. So, integral of 1 dx, please keep that in mind, is x or plus constant. This can also be understood as integral of dx. So, whenever you see integral of dx, you can directly write it as x, or you can understand it in a different way also. See, integral and d are opposite operations, correct. So, integral is the opposite of derivative, derivative antiderivative. So, these two will get cancelled and you will be left with x. So, you can understand it that way, clear. Okay. So, by using that logic, I can say that integral dx is nothing but x. So, x, and finally, for all these 3 I will add one common constant. So, that is it, that would be our final answer. Oh, I did not simplify this. Okay, let us simplify this and write it down. So, this will be equal to, we have an 18 here and 18 here. So, they will get cancelled out. So, I will be left with x power 18 plus 7 by 3, if it goes to the numerator, it becomes 3 by 7. 3 by 7 into 4 is 12 by 7 into this is x power 7 by 3 plus this is 9x plus the final common constant, right. So, that should be the answer. Okay. Now, one last question. So, the fifth one, I will separate them out and then write the expression integral of 2 cos x dx plus integral of e power x dx minus integral of, oh, I have written ln x there. So, students, this is something which you do not know. So, do not worry about this, I should not have given this. So, let us take 1 by x, right. So, 1 by x dx, right. So, this is the value which we need to calculate. Okay. So, let us perform the operation. So, this should be equal to, so I can bring 2 outside, 2 into integral cos x dx, let us quickly write it out, plus there is no constant. So, I will just leave it like that, e power x dx minus there is no constant there, 1 by x dx, or you can perform the integration here itself. I am just writing it in steps. So, 2, what is integration of cos x? It is sin x, not minus sin x, keep that in mind. Integration of cos x is sin x itself. So, sin x, right, plus integral of e power x is e power x only, and integral of 1 by x is ln x, right. So, minus ln x, and finally, you can add a constant c, right. So, do not worry about what I have written here earlier. So, you can't integrate ln x as of now, right, do not worry about that. So, this would be the final answer, right. So, that is it, students. We have applied only 2 rules here, one is the sum rule and the other one is the constant multiplication rule. So, this is how we do the integration of different functions. So, if as long as you remember the basic functions correctly, then this would be very simple. So, as I told you, so make a table, write it separately in a paper, stick it somewhere, keep looking at it and you will definitely remember. It is not that difficult, right. You have learnt lot difficult things than this. This is very simple. Okay. Students, now we will discuss definite integration, right. So, definite integration is very simple. Once we understand indefinite integration, if I am able to find the antiderivative, then like I told you earlier, definite integration is a very simple process. What we have to do is find the value of antiderivative at the upper limit, find the value of antiderivative at the lower limit, and I mean the value of the function at b, at a, and subtract them. That is it, right. And what does this give you? What does this imply? This implies area under f of x curve between x is equal to a and x is equal to b, right. So, that is what it means. So, performing definite integration means calculating area under some function, whatever function you are performing the definite integration. So, remember, indefinite integration is calculation of finding out a function, clear, whereas definite integration is calculation of area under a particular graph, right. So, this gives us a value. As you can see, we are substituting b in the antiderivative, we are substituting a in the antiderivative and then subtracting them. So, final thing what we get here will be a value, and that will be the value of what? It will be the value of area under the curve, right. So, definite integration means calculation of area, right. Let us now quickly calculate the definite integral values, evaluate these definite integrals, right. So, we will be using the same concept. We know first step is to find the antiderivative, lower limit, upper limit, difference between upper limit value and lower limit value. So, let us quickly do that. So, the first one, is integral of, let me write it in powers, x power 1 by 3 dx. What are the limits? 1 and 8, correct? So, first I will write the antiderivative function of this, that is the common step in all the cases. So, antiderivative of this would be x power 1 by 3 1 by 3 plus 1 by 1 by 3 plus 1, which is 4 by 3, correct, plus c. Okay. Now, here we will be using a representation, very simple representation. What I will do is I will just put a square bracket like this and I will write these limits here 1 and 8, right. So, what this means is that I found the antiderivative, I am going to substitute 8 into this, I am going to substitute 1 into this. So, that is what this means. This is the lower limit and this is the upper limit. Okay. Now, if I evaluate this, I would be getting 3 by 4 goes to the numerator. So, 3 by 4 x power 4 by 3 plus c. So, continue that lower limit and upper limit. So, which means you have not yet substituted. So, 1 and 8, as long as you are writing 1 and 8, it means that you are going to substitute, you will be substituting in the next step, right. So, this will be equal to, now substitute the values. So, first substitute 8 into this, get the value, minus substitute 1 into this and get the value, and whatever the final answer is, that would be the case. Okay. So, this would be, first I will substitute 8 here. So, I will get 3 by 4 into 8 power 4 by 3 plus c minus 1 I will substitute, 3 by 4 into 1 power 4 by 3, right, plus c. Clear, students? So, this will be equal to, now you know that 8 can be understood as 2 power 3, right, and here 3 and 3 will get cancelled and this becomes 2 power 4. 2 power 4 is how much? 16. So, 16 into 3 by 4. So, here there is 1 4 and here we have 16, 4 1s and 4 4s, 4 into 3 will be 12. So, do the mathematics on your own. So, 12 plus c minus, what do I have here? 3 by 4 into what, 1 power anything is 1 itself, right. So, 1 into 3 by 4, which is 3 by 4 plus c. So, now when I evaluate this, so c and c will get cancelled, right, and I will be finally left with 12 minus 3 by 4. How much is that? It is 11.25. So, that would be the answer, right. 12 minus 0.75 is 11.25. So, this would be the answer for that. Clear? So, one thing you should observe here is that, see, when I am substituting the limits, when I substitute the upper limit, the constant term will be there. When I substitute the lower limit, also the constant term will be there, and when I subtract, the constant term will eventually get cancelled, right. So, whenever you are writing, whenever you know that you are going to find out the definite integral, then you do not have to write the constant, because we know that eventually that is going to get cancelled out, right. So, I do not have to write it each and every time, only if you know that you are going to perform definite integration. But if you are only finding the antiderivative, then c should be there. If you are stopping here itself, then c should be there. But if you know that you are going to calculate all this, then you do not have to write c, right. Okay. Now, let us do the second one. So, what is the second question? So, shall I directly separate this by using the first rule, right, instead of writing it and once again doing, I will directly separate them out. So, I will be getting integral 3x cube, right. So, 3x cube dx minus integral 2x dx plus integral 1 dx, right, students. So, now the power is same for all, 0 to 2. So, substitute 0 to 2, 0 to 2, 0 to 2, right. So, as I told you, I am not going to write the constants now, constant of integration, because I know that eventually they will get cancelled out. So, I will skip one step because we have done enough questions by now. You know that 3 can be brought out and we can integrate this. So, I am skipping that step. So 3 into integration of x cube is x power 3 plus 1 by 3 plus 1, which is 4 by 4, right. Okay. Then minus here I will bring 2 out, 2 into integration of x dx, x means x power 1. So, x power 1 plus 1 by 1 plus 1, which gives me x square by 2, right. Okay. Plus here you know integral 1 dx is nothing but x. Now, I will substitute the limits 0 to 2, 0 to 2, 0 to 2, clear. So, this can be understood as 3 into, how should I write this? First I will substitute 2, I will get 2 power 4 by 4, 2 power 4 by 4 minus I will substitute 0, 0 power 4 by 4. I know it is 0, you know it is 0, but just to make you understand I am writing each and every step here, minus 2 into substitute 2, I will get 2 square by 2, right. Substitute lower limit, I will get 0 square by 2 plus, and finally in place of x when you substitute 2 you get 2, when you substitute 0 you get 0, that is it, simple, right. So, once you perform the integration, rest is just substitutions and finding the difference. So, calculate this, what do we get? 3 into 2 power 4 by 4, 16 by 4 is 4 minus 2 into 2 square by 2 is 2, this is 0. So, 2 and that is also 2. So, what is the final answer? 12 minus 4, 8 plus 2, 10. So, that should be the answer, clear. Okay, note this down, we will solve the next 2 questions later. So, students, next third and fourth. So, third one, so once again I will separate them, integral minus x dx first, then integral 2 by x dx next, right, and the limits are 1 to 4, 1 to 4, 1 to 4. Okay. So, let us perform the operation. So, I can bring minus 1 outside. So, minus 1 into integral x dx. So, by now you should be directly able to write integral of x power 1 dx is how much? X power 1 plus 1 by 1 plus 1, which is x square by 2, plus here I can bring this 2 out. Okay, let me, okay. So, if I bring this 2 out, I will have 2 into integral of 1 by x dx. You know what is integral of 1 by x? It is nothing but ln x, right, and that is it. So, substitute the limits 1 by 4. So, 1 to 4 and 1 to 4, right. Okay. Now, substitute 4 first. You can keep this minus 1 outside itself, you do not have to take it inside. So, minus 1 will be outside, correct. We have already brought minus 1 outside and then integrated this. So, you can put this minus 1 outside. Okay. So, this is the expression which we have. Now, substitute 4. So, I have 4 square. So, 4 square by 2 minus, now substitute 1, 1 square by 2 plus 2 into here. In place of this function, first substitute 4, then 1. So, ln 4 minus ln 1, and that would be the final answer. So, simplifying this will give us what? 4 square by 2 is 2, sorry 16 by 2 is 8 minus 1 by 2. So, 8 minus 1 by 2 is 7.5, but there is a negative sign. So, minus 7.5 plus this one here is 2 into ln 4 minus ln 1. Clear, students? So, for now maybe you do not know that the value of ln 1 is 0, right. You can just leave it like this. So, once you learn logarithms, you will understand that the value of ln 1 is equal to 0. So, for now just leave it like that. So, we do not have to further simplify it. So, that should be the answer. Now, the last one, fourth one. So, integral of, I can directly write this as x power minus 2. So, x power minus 2 dx from minus 3 to minus 1. So, you can easily do this, there is only one expression, right. So, simple question. So, x power minus 2 plus 1 by minus 2 plus 1, I will directly substitute the limits here itself, minus 3 minus 1. So, what do I get here? This is x power minus 1 by minus 1, correct. So, this is nothing but minus 1 by x. So, this minus I have brought out, x power minus 1 means 1 by x, correct. So, this is what I will have to do, minus 3 to minus 1. So, this is equal to, I will bring this minus outside so that it is easier to understand. So, I will keep this minus out and then perform the substitutions into this, okay. So, minus, so first I should substitute minus 1. So, 1 by minus 1, right students, minus, then I should substitute minus 3, 1 by minus 3, that is it. So, this will be equal to minus of 1 by minus 1 is minus 1, this minus and minus will become plus 1 by 3, correct. So, what is minus 1 plus 1 by 3? Minus 2 by 3. Minus 2 by 3 multiplied by minus will finally give you the answer as 2 by 3, clear. So, that should be the answer for that. So, if you see, so it is a very simple process as long as you are very much clear with the basic integration values. So, rest is just substitutions, right. Substitutions is pretty simple for you, correct. So, there is nothing to worry about this. So, maybe because I am writing each and every step, it might look bigger and it might feel difficult, but it actually is not. You would have already felt it, right. So, it is a very simple process. Find the antiderivative, find the limits, subtract them, that is it. So, students, let us now see one very good question. So, this is related to physics. We are going to apply the concept of integration to physics now, a physics related example. So, they have given speed of a particle is varying with time as v is equal to 2t plus 3 meter per second. Find the distance travelled by the particle between 0 to 2 and between 2 to 4. So, they have given two parts. Okay. So, first of all, see, we have been discussing once from the case when we started differentiation, that when distance is known to us, if I need to find speed, what do? We differentiate it, right. So, when I perform the derivative operation, you know that d by dt means derivative. So, when I differentiate distance, I get speed, correct. But if you observe the question, they have given us the speed, they are asking us to find the distance. So, they are asking us to do the reverse. So, when I know this and I am asked to calculate this, I differentiate. When I know this and I have to calculate this, I need to perform integration, correct. So, here d by dt of s will give us v, right. What is this process? Integral of v dt will give us s. So, that is how we should understand it, clear students. So, that is the idea. So, now we are going to perform this operation, right. So, let us calculate that here. So, they have given v is equal to 2t plus 3. So, you know that v can be written as ds by dt. Please observe this carefully. So, whatever I have told you here, I am going to explain that in a slightly different manner. This will be even more, you can understand this even better, right. So, in place of v, I wrote ds by dt, correct, is equal to, what is the value of ds by dt? They have given us 2t plus 3. So, 2t plus 3, Okay. Now what I am going to do is I am going to take this dt this side. Okay. So when I take it to the other side, I will get ds is equal to 2t plus 3 into dt. Clear? Now I know that when I integrate this, this is v dt. So when I integrate speed with respect to time, I get the distance travelled, right. So integral 2t plus 3 dt can be understood as integral of 2t dt plus integral of 3 dt, right. So when I do the integration, so on this side we can understand this in this manner, integral and d will go away and I will be left with s, right. See, remember I am going to perform definite integration here, okay, which means I am going to substitute the limits, right. So is equal to, what is integral of 2t dt? You know that 2 can be brought outside, integral of t dt is t square by 2, here 1 2 and 2 will get cancelled and I will be left with t square plus then integral of 3 dt. What is integral of 3 dt? 3 can be brought out and I will have integral dt. So integral dt is t, right. So this will eventually become 3t. Clear, students? So as I told you, I am going to perform definite integration on both sides. Now observe closely. So when I need to perform definite integration, I need to know the initial values of time and distance, final values of time and distance, correct. So what are the, in the first question they are saying between t is equal to 0 and t is equal to 2, between t is equal to 0 and 2. I know the limits for time. Okay. So if I consider that the distance covered by the particle is 0, when the particle is just starting at t is equal to 0, by then the particle has not covered any distance, right. So distance covered by the particle at time t is equal to 0 is 0, okay, 0, and by the end of 2 seconds, let us consider that the particle has travelled s, okay. At t is equal to 0, the particle has not yet travelled any distance. At t is equal to 2 seconds, it has travelled s distance, okay. So that is the idea, students, okay. Now we know how to substitute the limits. So when I am substituting the limits in this expression, I get s minus 0 is equal to, when I substitute 2 in this, I get 2 square plus 3 into 2. So that is the first value, minus, when I substitute 0, I get 0. That is it. So when I simplify this, I get s is equal to 2 square is 4 plus 3 into 2 is 6. So this gives me 10 meters. Right. If you want, you can write this as S2, S2 representing distance travelled in the first 2 seconds. That is the idea. Understood that? Okay. So please observe, this is where you should be aware of this. The remaining thing is very clear to you. So what I have done on this side is I have considered the integral ds as s, and when substituting the limits of s, what am I thinking? At t is equal to 0, the particle is just starting. So it has travelled 0 distance. By the end of 2 seconds, it has travelled s2 distance. Okay. So these will be the limits of s. So when I substitute the limits, I guess I get upper limit s2 minus lower limit 0. So that is the idea, students. Okay. We will solve for the second case also, then it will be more clear to you. So for the second case, do I have to do all this process once again? No, because only the limits are changing, right. So now if what I will do is, from here I will repeat, this whole thing is the same, correct. So let me write it once again, s is equal to t square plus 3t. I am going to change the limits now, please observe carefully. So the limits of time are 2 to 4, correct. So as time varies from 2 to 4, which means between between t is equal to 2 and t is equal to 4, right, that is what this means. Now on this side, let us say s2 is the distance covered in 2 seconds, s4 is the distance covered in 4 seconds, Okay, now if I evaluate this integral, what do I get? On this side I will substitute S4 minus S2 is equal to, what do I get on that side? 4 square plus 3 into 4 will be the upper limit minus, now substitute 2 square plus 3 into 2, this will be the lower limit. That is it. So, what are they asking me? Distance covered between t is equal to 2 and t is equal to 4, which means this itself, right? This is what they are asking me. They are not asking me S4. S4 means what? Distance covered in 4 seconds. They are asking me S4 minus S2 only. Distance covered between t is equal to 2 and t is equal to 4 means distance travelled in 4 minus distance travelled in 2, correct? So, they are asking me this value itself. So, that is equal to 16 plus 12, 28 minus, what do we have here? 4 plus 6, 10. So, this is equal to 18 meters, right. So, that should be the answer for that. So, observe what we have done once again. See, I have identified that they have given me speed and they are asking me distance. I know that distance is the integration of speed. So, what I did was that, so I have taken that expression for speed and I have integrated that. So, when I integrated that, I got the distance, and substituting the limits you should be very careful, right students. So, that is the idea. So, final answer would be 18 meters. So, that is it students. So, whatever question which we discussed at the end, so you can also try it using another method. So, you know that when velocity or speed is known to us, if I need to find the distance, I can understand the distance by looking at the area under VT graph. You remember this? This is the concept with which we started this topic. So, this is area under VT graph, right. So, what I want you to do is, so this would be your work for today, you try it. So, whatever question which we did at the end, which the function was v is equal to 2t plus 3. So, I want you to plot this graph and try to find out the distance covered between 0 to 2 seconds and 2 to 4 seconds by looking at area under the graph, right. And because this is a straight line, so the area under the graph can be divided into triangles and rectangles and all that. So, I am giving you an idea also of how to do it. So, draw the straight line, draw vertical lines to find the area under the curve, right, and check whether that value is matching with the values which we have derived or not. I will discuss this in next class. Okay.